We did click record and very mellow song. I didn't want to crank it up and blow
what
up the
elevator did you
speakers.
get that from?
Well, I don't know. It's a nice like background music. I don't know if that should be an intro song to a show, but
no,
here
absolutely
we
not.
are. Here we are. Josh, this is the Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am Garlic Johnson. You are Joshua Mitchell. Josh, you want to say hi to the folks?
Not today.
No? All right, the folks don't deserve it today. We have an email address, hiddenoaksoverdose@gmail.com, facebook.com/hoodpod. Segment start times are in the description below. Levi Oki, thank you so much. Levi Oki Illustration on Instagram if you want a shot at some of that beautiful, beautiful art that you can all currently see. Josh, how you doing today?
Darn good. Chit chat.
Did you do anything with your day?
Not at all. I mean,
Really?
I'm sitting here trying to enjoy chips and guac, and you keep expecting me to talk. So,
Pretty fucking rude of me, I'll admit.
yeah. I mean, come on. This is my house, my rules. If I want to eat when I'm podcasting, I should be able to.
You know, I can't really disagree with you there. At the same time, if you did nothing all day, you probably could have eaten chips and guac at any time during your day.
Oh,
and
no.
you're choosing to do so right now.
6:02 p.m. is my guac and chip time.
Can I point out for the folks that you have not once before today, at least this year, eaten chips and guac on the pod?
Okay, do you want me to be specific? 6:02 p.m. November 20th. That is my chip and guac time.
Every year? I'm going to put down a note. If you don't eat chips and guac next November 20th at 6:02 p.m., I'll be upset.
Okay.
So anyways, that was Chit Chat. We didn't think we'd talk about podcasts, other podcasts 2 weeks in a row, but Walters has decided to shutter his doors as well. So now the Victoria's Secret League is unserved, and that's that. I don't know. Rip Walters. I mean, from the very beginning, we won the podcast wars, but they're dropping like flies out there, man.
Yeah, we won the war, and now we're just out there decimating.
Or
and
it's
just
like double
destroying.
tap, right?
Yeah.
There's bodies on the ground.
Yeah,
We're just like,
so Walters and his podcast, Hiroshima. Alex, your new podcast, Nagasaki.
well, I don't know. I mean, I do genuinely think that the Land of 10,000 Plus Coons definitely has a bigger listening base than ours, so that might be somewhat sustainable or a bigger deal than us. But I mean, we're still winners, obviously.
I mean, we're national. What are they?
I mean, we're international.
Oh, yeah, we're international.
We got that one guy in Latvia.
Well, yeah, but I like to imagine my one guy in Latvia that listens just blaring it in his bar instead of music. Like the jukebox they have is just greatest hits of the Hidden Oaks Overdose podcast. People come in from all around, easily a line of 20 out the door, waiting for that jukebox to pick season 1, episode 2, season 1, episode 9. I don't know. Do we have 9 episodes in season 1?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. I don't pay much attention.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I mean, I'm going to say we have about 400, 500 followers.
we're doing pretty good. So we're just waiting for that parade in Latvia. They're gonna
Yeah, oh,
fly. They're gonna
absolutely.
fly us over. We're gonna be national heroes. Putin will then kidnap us for taking some of his clout.
Kidnap? No, Putin and I are homies.
Oh, really? You and Vladimir are good buds?
Vlad, yeah. V-Dog.
Oh, Vladimir Putin on the podcast. That's didn't think I'd get that when I got here today, but there we go. All right. So that's intro. Rip Walters, we'll miss you.
I thought that was about his Victoria's Secret standing.
Is it poor? I don't know.
I mean, he's the only one in the league that is officially ruled out of the playoffs, I guess.
Hey. And no, so not to turn it around on you, but you haven't made the playoffs yet, right? But you could this year?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, I got the picture here on my phone, so let's just do a little bit of filler.
I mean, no one else is doing a podcast about that fantasy league anymore, so we're almost like, this is like a sympathy right here. This is pity time.
Yeah, so I don't know how accurate this is. It's on the ffhub.com.
FF Hub, huh?
Yep. I'm assuming it means fantasy football. And at this point in time, Jack has a 0.2% chance of making it as the 6th seed.
Okay.
Walter says a 0.4% chance of making it as the 7th seed out of the playoffs.
Okay.
So he's pretty much locked in that last place. Where is Josh? Josh is... I have a 94% chance of making the playoffs according to this.
94%. Josh, this is going to be your first year in the Victoria's Secret playoffs.
This is my first year getting more than 5 wins.
Do you have 6 wins right now? How many wins?
Absolutely. Yep. No, I'd like to thank everybody for drafting horribly and letting me win. Thank you.
I'm sure they appreciate you as well. Okay, so that was a lot of that. Josh, let's fly right through these hot takes. Hot takes. I got it. We all saw the abysmal showing Monday night, and I say we all, even though I did not watch a second of the game. But Phillip Rivers still making babies, still chucking maybes. It's the end of his contract. This was Phillip Rivers' last year as a Charger. He might retire. He might just go out being a Charger for life. But that man's got a fire in him. I could easily see him signing with a team like Carolina because Kyle Allen's not necessarily working out at the moment. Could go to Chicago. There's plenty of teams. Cincinnati. I wouldn't want him to go to Cincinnati. But anyways, hot take. Rivers is done as a Charger after this year.
I said that the NFL is going to have 3 running backs, specifically running backs, but could be wide receivers, with 19 touchdowns or more this season. Just to make it so you understand why it's a hot take, since 2012, only 3 players have done it. Jamal Charles in 2013, David Johnson in 2015, and Todd Gurley in 2018. And I think this season we're going to have 3.
So I assume Christian McCaffrey's one of the 3.
Right now, my list, it's Christian McCaffrey, who has 14.
Okay, makes sense.
Aaron Jones, who has 14.
Okay.
And Delvin Cook, who has 11. But I think he's going to have a decent showing in the second or after their bye.
Josh, the Vikings are honored to have made any list you make. So I, as a representative of the entire Vikings organization, thank you.
You're welcome.
We need that. So there we go. So that is a hot take. It's definitely an off-brand hot take just because you don't hear about it very often. But Josh with the hot take, 3 players over 19 TDs or more. I do like it a lot. Josh, you've been crunching away. Sounds like it's time to get into the Fan Tasty Zone. Josh, who is bringing us the Fan Tasty Zone today?
We've got Mission Tortilla Triangle chips in the brown paper bag, not the plastic crunkly bag. So we're high class. And then we've got what I believe to be off-brand guacamole that was brown until I stirred it.
Is there an origin of that guacamole? Just so you bought it like the store, you make
I found it at Target on the floor.
Perfect. Also brought to us by, of course. Ooh, that was a loud one.
Oktoberfest Sam Adams.
That's a bottle. It wouldn't even make that sound.
Oh, sorry.
You stole my... And strawberry Arnold Palmer. Thank you, Arizona tea.
Key injuries. Moving on. Fan mail. I didn't pay enough attention to injuries this week.
Okay.
So I just assume everyone's 100% healthy. Except apparently the San Fran 49ers have 95 people on injured list.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. But
I haven't heard any. I mean, that's just what subreddits are saying. Probably already making excuses for this week's loss.
Sure. So fan mail. Josh, you put in the first 3 fan mails. So I feel I should let you handle the first 3 fan mails.
Oh, boy.
I will play the sounder for you, though.
Yeah, might as well do that while I try to find things and words.
Okay.
You've got mail.
That played out loud, too?
It was.
Why?
Okay, so last week we had some controversy on the pod.
No doubt.
I mean, we take care of highbrow options. You know, we have some heated debate at times.
So heated.
And so last week, I'd like to apologize for some of the behavior I had expressed and some of the things I'd said. I do not think people are scared of my team because I still lost this week, even after the trade. And I lost to my wife, who beats me relentlessly in fantasy. And so I apologize for that. I apologize for telling people to grow up, even though they should, because as you get older, you need to grow up physically, mentally, and emotionally.
I'm growing out, maybe a little bit too much. Maybe I should grow in.
But that is mostly directed at myself. So Hammer, Jamie, vetoers, I apologize. That being said, I think there's one person who's not going to apologize for the words they say, and that is Ryan Walters. Avid listener, had a lot to weigh in on.
Avid listener.
I don't know. I might need to break it up into parts because it is 9 pages long, it looks like. But he says, Josh's trade should absolutely, completely, and 100% be left unvetoed. Reason number 1. According to the podcast, it was stated more than once that Josh's trade and the way he went about his trade was 100% legal. Reason 2. Everyone in the league had their chance to veto it within the 24-hour voting period and failed to do so. Whoever the commissioner is to be allowing this secondary veto vote should be slapped. Gar, do you want to come over here for a second?
Nope.
It is your job as commissioner to hold up the rules of your league, not cater to beep gripe about an unfair trade after it followed the proper protocol. The trade itself is terrible, and managers make awful decisions sometimes when it comes to trades. That's football. Like it or leave it. It's take it or leave it, but the veto rule in itself is horrible rule to begin with. Is a horrible rule to begin with. If a manager decides that it is in his best interest to trade away a player, let them make that decision as long as it doesn't break the league rules. Fantasy football is competitive and you play to win. There are multiple strategies that you have to master in order to completely bring home the hardware, and that means you might have to try and convince another league member to give you one of his players that makes your team better. Again, as long as you don't break any rules, all should be fair when it comes to trades. Also, who the beep doesn't check their fantasy leagues during the week? If there are any league openings, hit me up. I would be interested in coming in and losing your league as well. Yours truly, Walterza.
Walterza?
It actually has an A at the end.
I saw it.
Okay. So yeah, that was one of them. Kyle also sent a heated text message that I'm not going to read. He was just kind of on the same page as the only reason I'm not going to read it, Kyle, is because I'm too lazy to open it up on my phone. And so actually, you know what? I could probably do it just to be fair.
Sure. Here, Well, Josh, while you're doing that, let's play an ad. We don't play ads too often, but
When you work on your mysterious lady part stuff, you should have the right tools too. So that's why you should use Maypax, the official tampon of NASCAR.
So from Kyle to you and I, so you saw this as well. So not that my opinion has any impact on your fantasy league, but after listening to your podcast from yesterday, if a rule is made up as far as vetoing after the veto period, there is a veto that occurs. And if there's a veto that occurs, everything that wasn't undone as far as waivers and such should go to make it fair for Josh to pick up who he would have had. If I was you, Josh, I'd say, beep, that give me my money back for this season. And I would be extremely beep if y'all are playing for money, which I'm sure you are. Because that is beep up. How is it ethical, as that seems to be your favorite word of the topic, Gar, that a rule is made up to reverse things and he gets penalized for doing nothing wrong on the first place, on his part? Seems to me like that's the most unethical way the situation could possibly be handled. He's being penalized for proposing a trade. That makes literally no sense. Hope y'all have a great day. Wish I would have listened live because I would have loved to ask Josh to go fishing. And he would have called in to weigh on that pile of steaming beep of a situation.
Thank you, Kyle. And I didn't play this before Kyle started
You've
talking.
got mail.
So. Thank you, Kyle.
And then the last one is just a combination of various messages received through Reddit as well as different leagues. I don't understand why the trade is a hot issue. I mean, it sounds like Josh needed a QB, made a trade to better his team. Some would argue that it was lopsided, but what trade isn't in fantasy? Let's be real. Everyone had a chance to veto during that 24-hour period. The blame should be put on all other players who had their notifications turned off rather than Josh and Nate. I don't understand why there was a second voting. I don't understand why there's another one that says I don't understand why there's second voting. If you want to talk about ethical, in all caps, the finger should be pointed at whoever wanted the second chance to vote and for the commissioner for letting the second vote happen. It says player A, but Josh, I hope the trade goes through for you and that I hope to tear it up this season, kicking ass and taking names. Oh, I forgot to beep it out. Can you beep it out later? Beep. Okay. Show the pity party committee who is boss. Much love to player 2, a.k.a. Nate. I hope the season starts to look up for you, bud. And then it says, Commissioner, I cannot believe you're letting this beep happen after the trade has already been accepted. Tell your peeps to deal with it and turn their notifications on. Thank you, Reddit.
Is that all you got?
That's all I got. I'm sick of reading. Can I be done for the night?
You can't be done for the night. You can be done reading things off your phone for the night.
All right, I'll accept it.
All right. Last email
You've got mail.
from Brian. All it said was, first of all, love the Grum. Brian, we love you as well. So here's Brian acting like a father figure. Said, too much bile was spewed last week. Be nice, all of you. It's literally all it says.
Is he talking to us, or was Bradley sick from drinking and throwing up bile?
Could have. I think it was Bradley sick from drinking, and they were hunting together. I don't think. I honestly don't remember it all, but I'm gonna assume Bradley didn't have a very successful hunt. So, yeah, he was puking at his own dissatisfaction. Thanks for writing in, Brian. We love you as always.
Love you.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about during the Fantasty Zone, Josh?
No, we're good. Let's move.
Let's move, Josh. Actually, I would like to say just one more thing. So, for what it's worth, I know Kyle would like fair representation, because it seems like he listens now, at least to that one specifically. And so, in case Kyle felt like he was painted in a bad way for whatever reason, I don't think anyone would say that, but he did text me afterwards and be like, hey, I was maybe trying to poke the bear with some of that, and, I didn't feel great about it. And I was like, Kyle, I never felt offended, but I love you. So, Kyle, just to make sure you have your fair representation. And that is that. All right, moving on, Josh. We just had one of our teams played this week, and we'll talk about them in brief. We're moving on to the Week 11 Homer results. The Vikings, some fucking how, beat the Denver Broncos 27-23. It was a win. It sure didn't feel like it, especially that first half. It felt like we played two different football games, honestly. It was so surreal. The refs, one note I wrote down, I mean, everyone around here saw the game. Just an interesting tidbit I wrote down is I think the refs technically broke a rule at the end of the first half there. So it was when they had thrown the flag saying that we had illegal formation, we were covering the center, and they said it was a whatever yard penalty. And then, we can't challenge that. That's not a penalty that's reviewable. Even within 2 minutes, you can't just, that's not reviewable. And then the ref still picked up the flag and be like, nope, there's actually no penalty. So I don't think that was supposed to happen, even though we benefited from it. So that's cool and just proves how bad the refs still are, breaking the rules that exist. So that was just an interesting tidbit that I don't think got enough attention. And then Vikings fans, they stuck it out. Honestly, if I would have paid enough money to have good seats at a Viking game, I'm sure I would have stayed myself. But man, Vikings fans, you guys showed out. I would totally understand if plenty of people would have left at halftime. We were down 20-0 to a 3-6 team, but the fans balled out. They shouted out, and I definitely think they were a big part of that victory there in the second half. So love you, Minnesota Vikings fans that were in there in the stadium. Last tidbit. So Josh, this was our first half. You tell me if this is a first half you want your team to have ever. Punt, 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 fumble, fumble, punt.
I think that would be just fine for the Packers defense to hold a team to that.
That's an abysmal, ugly, disgusting half of football.
Well, I think the first play of the second half, they came out and said it was like a 9-yard run, right?
I don't know.
There was a play.
Sure.
It was like a 9-yard play, and they're like, and that, or no, it was that really big play. But there was in the entire first half, the longest play was 6 yards.
I believe that.
And I was just like, holy shit. Because they started it with Kirk Cousins is 11 for 12 today.
Which was true.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But that offensive line did not give him any time.
He didn't have time. I would assume the receivers weren't open downfield because he was just checking down a lot. It could also be that he was feeling pressure.
What was he doing?
Fuck that. He was checking down.
Okay.
Did he throw all checkdowns? No, he did not.
He did when he threw checkdowns.
You got me. But yeah, and the fact that it could have, the first half could have been even worse because one of those, we had two fumbles. One of them was on the kickoff and they were on the 20. If Sendejo doesn't pick that off the next play or the second play after, that's another at least 3, maybe 7 points we're down. So, holy. Josh, I see you have some notes as well, but
yeah,
what a game.
I mean, I said getting a win is all that matters, even if it was as ugly as that. Like you said, it was basically two different games. Cousins came out in the second half and won that game for Minnesota. Probably won't hear me say that too often, just because it doesn't happen very often. Not for him, but just in general, when a team comes out and their strategy is typically run the ball, that's going to be where you win the game, is running the ball. So good on him. First half, checkdowns. Second half, daggers. That's kind of what it was. The Vikes as a whole tried to lose. Tons of penalty, tons of mistakes. In the first half. Second half, obviously, things changed. I'm trying not to burp on air.
I mean, you can burp. I think it's worse when you hold it in because then you sound funny.
But
way.
I mean, it's hard to say whether or not Minnesota won that game or Denver lost that game, just because of how it was a tale of two halves for both teams. I mean, I would say Minnesota won it because they could have just given up. But then at the same time, it's not one of those like moral victories. That team was 3-6, you're 10-point favorites, and you go into halftime at down 20-0. If Zimmer wasn't as red as a strawberry at halftime, I would be surprised. But yeah, like I said, I don't see many people happy with how they played, even if they did get the win, especially with all the penalties and mistakes the team they made.
All right. Any other thoughts on the Vikings-Denver game, Josh? Is the keyboard on?
Team has a bunch of losers in Minnesota.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate you. Packers didn't have a game. I don't know if you have any comments, though, about either guy.
Yeah! Go Packers!
Okay. All right, so with that, we will move on to the other Week 11 watchable moments, as we call it in our show notes. Josh, what else did we see out there on Thursday? Well, probably should start with Thursday. Don't want to talk about it too much because it's been talked about a lot. But
Pittsburgh, Cleveland. 8 seconds left in the game was the only thing to watch. And that was Myles Garrett getting arrested, basically.
I mean, he didn't get arrested.
No, that was the conversation the next day, was whether or not they'd push
I mean, there were definitely plenty of people that were saying that should be assault. I'm personally not of that belief, but I understand the argument for sure.
Yep, I'm also in that minority that feels that Mason Rudolph should have to miss a game as well, because he instigated a lot of that.
You would be surprised. I've actually heard a lot of Steelers fans coming out and saying Rudolph should get like 4 or 6 game suspension. They might be biased because they hate their quarterback, but yeah, I definitely think, to be fair, I mean, what the media outlets I listened to, they were saying it's hard to also suspend the victim, or he was widely the victim. Like, a lot of time they just show the helmet hit, they don't show Rudolph essentially instigating it. You can say whether Myles Garrett initial tackle was late or gruesome or whatever, but Mason escalated it, and then Myles, obviously what he did was indefensible. But
yeah, Mason was trying to pull off his helmet first, and he's just, a little punchable quarterback, whereas Myles Garrett's a man, and he actually got his helmet off. Now, I actually thought that the ripping of the helmet off of Mason was more like egregious and hurtful than actually hitting him with the helmet.
Really?
Because if you watch his neck, I was like, holy Gumby, you're not supposed to bend like that.
I'll take it. I guess I don't recall specifically.
Yeah, it was an interesting game. I mean, Cleveland won somehow.
Literally not a single person on the planet is talking about how Cleveland got a win out of that game. Which is,
because it feels like a loss losing their best defensive player.
Right. And they're 4-7 or something like that?
Yeah.
So that happened. We'll move on.
How about the game of the week? Houston at Baltimore. Supposedly it's supposed to be a really fun game to watch if you're a Baltimore fan.
Woof
indeed.
Yeah, Houston. I mean, on paper, Baltimore should have won that game, but not like that, dude. 41-7, like, yikes. I didn't see the game personally, but just seeing the box score and just hearing all the conversation about it, I don't know. Did you catch any part of that game?
No, because the Vikings are on, and living in Minnesota means that every other channel is shut down until the Vikings game is over. Everyone. I couldn't even watch CNN.
Well, I mean, what would you have watched on CNN?
I think more entertaining.
12. Yeah, okay, so that happened. Houston gets blown out. Chicago at Rams. Josh, I believe you added this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, Chicago lost. Giggity. Very boring game overall, but Chase Daniel time.
A hot take came through for you.
It did. And I wouldn't be surprised if he started, because Matt Nagy hates Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky has a hip injury.
Yeah.
After seeing Nagy essentially console his quarterback for a good couple minutes on the sideline. And then...
So here's what you're going to tell people after the game, Mitch. You have a hip injury. But I feel fine, coach. You have a hip injury, or you're going to have a bullet to the dome. Which one do you want?
Is Nagy like a mobster all of a sudden?
I mean, have you seen the guy?
I guess I kind of get those vibes a little bit. The scruff is just a little too scruffy. He seems to be in black and white all the time, even though it's a color world. It's strange. So I will say Trubisky deserves to be benched. He has not been a good quarterback. But at the same time, I mean, the camera was giving you a heavy dose of Trubisky. That dude was all puppy eyes and teary-eyed, and it's like... I mean, he's a human, too, at the end of the day. You felt bad. The dude was obviously sad. Like, he thought... We don't know what it's like behind the doors, but Nagy, or up to this point, Trubisky's always been like, Nagy's the best. He's been through me, Jesus. He's been with me through thick and thin. So yeah, I mean, Trubisky was obviously devastated. So anyone with an empathetic bone in their body would have saw that and be like, "Oh, Trubisky."
To quote Mitch Trubisky, though, hell yeah, go Packers.
That's exactly what Trubisky says. I heard that's what his headstone will say as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I also added Kansas City at the Los Angeles Chargers of Mexico. Chargers lost. It was a lose-off in the first half, I swear. Nobody wanted to win that game.
That's what I heard. I did not get to watch the game because I was occupied on Monday, but I saw some highlights, and it looks like the field was not great. But at the same time, yeah, the Chiefs did not deserve to win that game, and the Chiefs are not the team everyone thought they were entering the season for sure. So, I mean, that's what led to my hot take of Rivers will be done. But yeah, anyone who watched Monday night, it's just Rivers. What are you doing, man? So, any other comments on that game, Josh?
Nope.
All right, now we're going to move on to preview week 12, Josh. We'll start with the Vikings again, get that one out of the way early. Vikings on a bye. My two notes here are Kirk Cousins is destined to crush at least 7 Capri Suns. And then also, we hopefully get some guys healthy. Adam Thielen's been out for a little bit. Linval's missed the last couple games. Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith. Not a lot of people are talking about this injury, but Harrison Smith went out late in that Denver game. So that's why everyone knows Jaron Kearse's name now, if you didn't before, because we got a heavy dose of Jaron Kearse because our 2 starting safeties are out. So it was him and Sendejo holding down the fort at the end. And then Josh Klein, right guard. We hope to get all those guys back for the Seattle game. But that's it. Josh, things to watch on the Minnesota bye week?
The police scanner. I mean, I think I put the same thing for the Packers last week. Don't get arrested. Don't do something stupid.
Yeah.
Because you got plenty of time to do that.
Yeah. Well, Zimmer's cleaned that up a lot, but the story of this team used to be that we did some dumb shit, so we'll see.
So, Green Bay, 8-2 at San Fran, 9-1. Should be a good game. I think they should follow Arizona and Seattle game plans because Arizona has given them a hard time. Granted, both those teams are division games, so it's always going to be a little bit closer. But this is a big game. I feel like whoever wins this is likely to get that first round bye in the playoffs, but it's not a certainty. It feels like that's the kind of game that this is going to be advertised as. For the 9th week in a row, stop the run, you turds. It's a very solid run team despite their recent struggles. Tevin Coleman's healthy. I don't know if Matt Breida is going to be healthy or not. But
he's definitely questionable at the moment, yeah.
But it's still going to be a solid run team. And then block. I mean, for the love of God, the last time you were on the West Coast, you couldn't block someone on Twitter. You're that bad. So just block that D-line because that's going to be the ones that give you the biggest fit, even though they have a solid defense overall.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, you guys got a heavy dose of Joey Bosa not too long ago. You got Nick Bosa coming up against you now. Of course, every single Vikings fan, not that they wouldn't cheer against the Packers to begin with, but most Vikings fans know that this team will not be successful without home postseason games. So we're cheering hard for San Fran in this one. That said, San Fran is really not equipped to win a shootout. So if the game comes less defensive, run the rock, control the clock, and becomes more of a let's just shoot it out. I mean, with the addition of Sanders, that helps San Fran a little bit, but obviously the Packers are favored by millions to win a shootout. So the San Fran definitely has to not let that happen if they want to win. It is very rare, but I wrote down if San Fran really wants to win this game, they're going to need to turn over the Packers, specifically Rodgers. They're going to need to get a pick, I think, or they could force a fumble on special teams or something, but getting a pick off Rodgers will, I think, throw him off his game just a little bit. The man is human. He doesn't throw picks very often at all, and that's what they're going to need. They're going to need turnovers. So Packers, if you want to win this game, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but to try and be fair and objective, Packers, you're not going to run the rock super successfully against the 49ers, at least not to start. If you come out with a run, pass, McCarthy offense, this game's not going to go your way. If you want to come out with a more modern Packer look, you want to come out with a 5 wide, empty tray, Rodgers in the shotgun. So you're just getting the ball out quick to a guy in a slant, guy in a flat, guy in a stick, whatever. Quick passes, 5 wide. That's how you're going to slow down the 49ers early. And so that's how you're going to have some success, I think. And then you can run the ball later once you're a little more balanced. But that's what I think about the game, Josh. You have any other comments on the big flex to Sunday night? It's going to be a huge game, huge playoff implications.
Nope.
He is nodding no. He said no. All right, Josh, what's tingling your jingle for some other Week 12 matchups? There's no Vikings game, so there's really should be no jingle in your tingle at all, but what else might?
Indy at Houston, playing for the division there. Seattle at Philly. For some reason, Vegas has Philadelphia favored. I agree with your notes there. Interesting. Jacksonville at Tennessee. It's AFC South battle. They might actually win the AFC South. Tennessee might. Miami at Cleveland, because who doesn't love Division III football? And then the Bengals watch.
Yeah, you put this in. I wasn't really sure what it meant, but Josh, please tell me what the Bengals watch is.
As we know, the Bengals are atrocious. Could probably be beat by their own cheerleaders.
Oh, they're not great.
And there is an individual in Cincinnati, I believe, who stated when the team was like 0-4, 0-6, somewhere in there, he's not going to leave the rooftop of a bar because he works there. He's not going to leave it until they win a game. He spends 23 hours up on top of that roof. So I don't know what he does for work, but he spends 23 hours up on top of that roof a day, allotting an hour of his time to use the restroom or for restroom breaks, showering, getting ready, that sort of thing. But he lives in a tent with a TV, a bed, and a small table.
I never knew about this until just now. I assume you learned about that through Reddit or what?
Through K-Fan.
K-Fan.
They were talking about how big of an idiot he is.
It's a bad take to take and then be stuck on that roof 23 hours a day.
Yep. No, people would have said, oh, yeah, it's great if it's for charity, but it's not. This guy is literally just sitting on a roof for 23 hours a day.
He's just a lunatic. He's getting some attention, and he got us, some nobodies from Minnesota to talk about him, so maybe that's what he wants in the end, but, that's rough. I'm going to go home, and I'm going to have to Google Cincinnati Bengal rooftop, and I'm going to have to learn more about this guy, because this guy seems, as Ricky would say, detarded. Josh, any other things tingling your jingle for Week 12?
Go Packers.
Go Packers. All right, Josh, it's time for locks and upsets, and I have to write something down, and I have to play a little ditty. So now that I've written it down, oh my God. There it is. Gonna keep it nice and quiet so I don't blow up people's ears this week. And it's just getting progressively louder. There we go. All right, Kyle remains on top of the locks and upsets leaderboard.
Yeah!
Are you cheering for Kyle?
I'm just cheering.
Nice. All right, so he increased his lead over Jalen to 3. Kyle is 28, Jalen 25, T within 5 of the lead at 23, Brad at 22, Brian 21, tied with Nikita at 21. It drops off from there. Jesse, Jordan, and Walters, and Josh, are at 19. Looks like Josh might have erased mine. Oh, no, I erased my own name. Jesus, by pressing the 1 key one too many times. I'm at 18, Derek's at 18, and then Eric's and Aaron are down there at the very bottom. Josh, you think you got any shot at this point? I'm pretty sure I asked you the exact same question last week, but double upsets are open. Reckless abandon at this point, or what?
Reckless abandon.
Dude, 18. I have not hit an upset in the last 5 weeks. 6 weeks. 5 weeks? 6 weeks. I don't know.
Yep, no, I would have been right there with you if Washington beat New York, but Washington's Washington. This week I've got 2 upsets, Jacksonville over Tennessee, as well as Seattle over Philly.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot, unless those odds change, I think we're going to see a lot of people with Seattle over Philly there. I can't play my sounder anymore because I don't have a lock of the week, but I'm still going to play it anyways because I'm a cheater. I also have Seattle over Philly, but I'm taking Indy over Houston. God. Damn it. I'm not going to replay it that time because I'm stupid, but I also went with the double upset. That's my only chance. Eric's. We got all our weekly contributors in on time this week. Eric says Green Bay over San Fran, and then Dallas over New England. Nikita has New Orleans over Carolina and Seattle over Philly. Josh, I'm realizing I'm talking a lot, so maybe you take the next 2 there.
Walters has New Orleans over Carolina, and then his upset is Green Bay over San Fran. Great. And then Aaron, the curse in last place, has Green Bay over San Fran as his one upset, and then the other is Seattle over Philly. So, yay.
So is the writing on the wall here for Green Bay over San Fran. It's already been picked 3 times by 3 not-so-great locks and upsets teams, Josh.
Yeah.
Do we have that much power on this board to control
Probably.
games?
The last one we have is Brian with New Orleans over Carolina, and then Seattle over Philly as well.
Yep. So Brian's sticking true. He's right there in the race. He's sticking with 1 lock and 1 upset. I didn't call him a coward, but I did call him out. I was like, Brian, you're really not gonna just go with two there? So 2 upsets. But Brian likes his chances. He didn't respond when I said that. So YOLO swag, 420 Blaze. Okay.
Week 12. Week 12. It's the Week 12 fantasy fun time.
Yeah, okay, well, the Vikings are terrible.
Josh, it is fantasy fun time. Josh, why don't you lead us off with the fantasy fun time?
It is time for the grain of salt, brought to you by Bradley Knupp.
Thanks, Brad.
I went 4-1 this week, getting a win in all my leagues that matter because ours does not. Screw you, Hidden Oaks. I'm out of here. That's my 5th straight loss in a row in that league.
Yeah, it's not been great for you in that league specifically. I went 3-5, so another not great week for me, but still pretty extremely average. 3-5 on the week. I'm overall 46-42 in all of my leagues. So when you're hearing me talk fantasy advice in just a second, remember that I'm average. Josh, hit us with those top performers of the week.
As everyone expected, Josh Allen, 33.8. Lamar Jackson, 33.5. And Dick Prescott, 31.6. For running backs, we've got Chris McCaffrey with 30, Mark Ingram with 23.5, and Alvin Kamara with 22. Wide receivers, as always, John Brown with 34.7, DJ Chark with 30.4, and Calvin Ridley with 28. Tight ends, we had Kelsey leading the charge at 22. Thankfully, I was not playing against him. Just kidding, I was. Griffin, 22, and then Zach Ertz with 18.5.
You have an absolutely breathtaking hiney.
I don't want to say I'm full of regret here, but that John Brown character was the original way I got to be named Eastbound and Brown. And now look at him.
Yeah, there was a stat that came out on Sleeper that he's like 3rd in the league in like catches or targets per game since like week 4 or 5.
Yeah, he's got a high target share for sure.
High target share.
Which is probably right around when I cut him, week 4 or week 5, something like that.
Yep. Good job.
Fuck me. It's okay. I've got another Brown, so I can still keep the team name, but Jesus. Josh, want to do some studs and duds? Want to hold hands? In a merry way.
How about you go?
Okay. Studs and duds last week. I had Darren Fells. He was not a stud anyway. Only projected 7 points. Didn't even crack 3. -4. I got Christian Kirk. Barely a dud. Projected 12. Got 10. I was -2 on the week.
I had Hunter Renfrow as my stud, who was projected 8.4. He got 11.6 for +3 and some change. Cooper Kupp was my dud because my original dud was Jordan Howard, who didn't play. Cooper Kupp was projected 15.3. He was still a dud. He got me a net of 7. So I finished with an overall of 10.2.
Way to go, Josh.
Woo!
Eric's had Raheem Mustard as his stud, and nope, he barely got half his projection. Projected 8, didn't even crack 5. Jarvis Landry projected as the dud, was projected 12, got 14. Eric's overall in the week, -5.2. Try again, Latvia.
Wifey McWifeface had Lamar Jackson as her stud. He was projected 24. Got him, or he got her 9.5 point differential because he was a stud. David Johnson, woof, was projected 9.9, and he did play, but he got 0.
I know. What is going on with that dude?
So,
man?
Nikita, good job. Week high, 19.4. Love you.
First place on the week for sure. Second place on the week, bit of a shock. Mr. Walters, I don't have a podcast anymore. He had Deebo Samuel as his stud. Projected 10, got 21, netted 11 there. Leonard Fournette as the dud, projected 18, only got 12. Walters, second place of the week, 17.1 in the black. Good for you, Walters.
Brian had Irv Smith Jr. as his stud, who was projected 4. He got 11 for +7. And then Royce Freeman as a dud, projected 10, ended up getting 5.5. So Brian coming in third this week with 11.5 points.
That's true. We haven't talked about it, I think, the last 2 weeks, so let's go quick over to the leaderboard. Nikita dethroned me. Nikita's in first place of the core 5. She's got 25 on the year. I've got 13.9. Josh, you're third with 7.8. Walters is negative 4.7. Eric's negative 21.4. Those are the core 5 who've done it every single week. In the other board with everyone, Brian is now up top. He's got 51.6. He dethroned Hammer, who has 43.4. So Hammer, I know you haven't contributed a little bit, but you're not in first place anymore. So if you had any incentive to play again now, this would be it. You're no longer number 1. Brian is. And then it goes Nikita, me, Josh, Walters, Brad down there in third to last, Jamie second to last, Eric's woof, dead last out of everybody who's ever played ever. The end. Amen. Josh, what do you got this week?
Your name's first.
Oh, do I have to go first every single time?
Well, your name's first.
All right, I got Mr. Alan Lazard taking
Alien Lizard. Pronounce it right.
I got Mr. Alien Lizard, a Green Bay Packer, making his way into my stud list is gross, but he's only projected 6.6, so if that dude gets a touchdown or has like one big catch and a broken play, he's got that done. So I like him as a stud this week. Todd Gurley as my dud. The matchup is Baltimore. I know Todd Gurley's been playing kind of like as a wide receiver this year, but I still don't like the matchup. Baltimore just killed Houston. The Rams have been shaky at best this year. I got Todd Gurley as the dud this week.
I have Kareem Hunt as my stud, projected 12.7. He's tied for target lead on passing plays on that team with 17 over the last 2-3 weeks. Two weeks that he's been back.
It's a really good stud pick and a full PPR.
Oh, yeah. And then Devonta Adams is my dud. I feel like they're going to get the ball to the guys who aren't going to be triple covered. He's projected 17.1.
That definitely could happen. We got Eric's coming in with the juice as his stud. Darius Geis projected 8.8. I forget exactly what the matchup is, but I know it's a favorable one. He's got OBJ as the dud, projected 13.4. Browns just suck. So I think the Browns playing Miami this week?
Yes.
That's right. And OBJ as a dud, that's a testament to how bad the Browns really are. Josh, let's hear about your wife.
Well, she has Alvin Kamara as a stud, which he is. He's projected 21 points. She's banking on him going above and beyond that, and I can't disagree with her. Her dud for this week is either Juju Smith-Schuster, if he plays, who is projected 11.2, or Ezekiel Elliott, who is projected 16.3.
Yeah, that whole Steelers team is doing it without all their stars. So.
Can you believe Juju was like a first-round draft pick in a lot of leagues, too?
Yeah, I mean, so was James Conner. We're borderline, early second, and team has plenty of wins, but can I believe Juju being a first-round pick and being this bad? I wouldn't have seen it coming. I didn't draft him anywhere, but it's been a gross situation for them. Anyways, moving on to Walters. He's got DJ Chark as his stud, 16.2. Pretty high projection for a stud, but he was getting the ball early and often with Foles back in the lineup. And Zeke as his dud, projected 16.3, just like your wife's backup. The matchup against the Patriots is not a good one. He could definitely be a big dud this week.
I'm just going to go ahead and guess that Brian means Jamal Williams, not Jonathan Williams.
Well, it's Jonathan Williams.
From where?
He is a running back for the Indianapolis Colts because Marlon Mack is injured.
Oh, so Jonathan Williams, projected 6.8. He exists. And then
he does exist.
His dud pick, Nick Chubb, safe dud pick there, 19.3. I think with Kareem Hunt taking over some plays and then playing Miami, it's very possible we see a Kareem Hunt show. Yeah,
I definitely like that take. Nick Chubb's stock isn't plummeting per se, but it's definitely going down to RB2 flex position at this point. He's no longer a stud. Lastly, Jamie's back in the fold. She gave us a stud this week. Baker Mayfield projected 15.6. She doesn't like Jeff Driscoll and all those dirty Driscoll boys, causing no harm. Jeff Driscoll of the Lions is projected 16.9. That's Jamie's dud, so we will see how they do. But Jamie, welcome back to the studs and dud segment. Tell your husband to get his ass back in here so Brian doesn't sit up top the leaderboard forever and ever.
So we have 2 Browns as studs and 2 Browns as duds. Let's see if they all pan out.
I got my money that says they're all duds this week.
Yeah, it's the Browns.
All right, Josh.
Sounder.
Oh my God, I wasn't even ready, Josh. You're so on things today.
It's true that every man has his price. And it's also true that money won.
What we have here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
It's true that every man has his price. And it's also true that money won is a lot sweeter than money earned. Now he's a philosophizer.
There you go. Didn't fuck it up the second time.
Side bet winner, 30, flirty, and thriving Jamie with Christian McCaffrey, who got 30.1 points. Congrats, Jamie.
Good
You are
job,
the wiener.
James. Got $5. There's only 2 side bets left. In the history of the side bets, only 2 years, I have not won a single one yet. Looks like it's going to happen again.
Congrats.
You're congratulating me on not winning money? That's a dick move. I hate you. Go away. And he leaves. So yeah, the side bet. So Brian has not won one either, so I guess I wouldn't be the only one. I'd be the only one to play both years of the side bets and not win one. So I'm not going to say I'm salty, but somehow, some way, the system seems to be against me in that. Brief walkthrough of all the games, Josh, and we mean brief. We could probably crack through this whole thing in 2 minutes if we wanted. Mine's on the top of my list, so I'm going to go with me. We got Garrett. Did not do enough this week. I beat him 119-76. Kirk Cousins led my charge. Ezekiel Elliott with 20, and then George Kittle's backup, 17.4. Thank you, George Kittle's backup, for getting 2 touchdowns in the week. I beat Garrett. Josh, you ready? You want me to do another one?
Keep going.
All right. Jamie, and definitely what America's game of the week. This would have been flexed to Sunday Night Football in the blink of an eye. Jamie kills Willie. 121.6 to 72.7. Jamie was led, of course, by Christian McCaffrey, then DJ Moore. Patrick Mahomes a distant third in her thrashing with only a pedestrian 15.5. Willie could not get anything right this week. Dalvin Cook only got 16. Le'Veon Bell only got 17. Patriots defense only got 12. Willie, you have all the points you'd ever want in the league, but you got thrashed this week. Sucks to suck. Josh, you ready?
Yep. Maybe. Yeah, so next we have my matchup with my wife, who beats me all the time in fantasy. She scored 140.7 to my 121.7. She had Dak Prescott with 31, Keenan Allen with 28, Keenan Allen with 21, Calvin Ridley with 28, Travis Kelce with 22. I had Lamar Jackson with 33, Cortland Sutton with 19, and Mark Andrews with 17.5, and the New Orleans defense with 17. I suck.
I mean, you would have beaten like 9 or 8 teams this week. You just happened to play a really high score. But you lost. Next matchup, surprisingly close considering Nate did not have a full lineup. Jesse squeaks one past Nate, 111.6 to 111.3. Jesse carried by DJ Chark at 30 points, and then Mark Ingram with 23. Nate's highest scorer was Kyler Murray with 26, and then Michael Gallup with 23.8. But Nate does not get it done against Jesse. He somehow squeaks by with another one.
Robin versus Hammer. Hammer squeaks out a win with 132.6 to Robin's 104, just barely beating her. Robin didn't set a full lineup either and left Jordan Howard in. Her top player, Todd Gurley with 20, Ryan Cobb with 21, and Debo Samuel with 21. Big Waller brand, aka Hammer, had Josh Allen with 34, Alvin Kamara with 22, and Hunter Henry with 15.
Next, we have Big League taking on Bradley. Tyler was carried by Austin Eckler, 21.2, Jameson Crowder with 18.6, and Kyle Rudolph, 17.7. Was it enough to beat Bradley? Yes, it was, very handedly. Bradley only had 87.4, Michael Thomas with 25, Tariq Cohen with 18, but the rest of Bradley's team sucked the donkey. T beats Brad handedly.
Brian wins another one, beating Derek, 110.2 to 77.7. Brian's top performers were John Brown and Devontae Parker. Nobody else really scored for him. John Brown put up 35, and Devontae Parker put up 20.5.
Yeah, Brian wanted me to bring up, he just sent in a text message, he was like, do you think in the history of this league has anyone ever won with a combined 10 points from their quarterbacks and running backs? So out of those 3 people, I didn't fact check it, but he said those 3 people got him 10 points combined. Do you think anyone else has ever won like that before in this league, Josh?
I'm sure.
Yeah, I said in full PPR it's probably happened, but we don't have that kind of history to go check. So, Brian, you upset Derek. Well, you didn't upset Derek. You're the better team, but I thought Derek was going to make it into the playoffs for sure. Never mind. You already talked about you and your wife. So, Josh, that's all the matchups.
Yeah. Week 12 preview. Side bet. Go long. Quarterback with the longest pass.
Whoa. Josh. There were 2 more bullets there.
You can't just toss wrenches into my plan to move past bits you want to do.
I just did. All right, so prediction outcomes we don't talk about very often. Josh, you got 4 games last week. I got 5 last week. And Josh, what? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Nathan Nielsen has officially been eliminated from playoff contention. Nathan Nielsen, aka Gold Team Rules. You will not be making the playoffs this year. You will not get a trophy. You will not get $350 cash money. Nathan, you will be missed. That was a little worth it, right? I mean, come on.
It was. Are you going to do it 2 more times for the other teams that are eliminated from the playoffs?
I mean, they're not technically eliminated yet.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not. Both of them have 4 wins, and the people in 6th or the people in 7th and 8th have 5 wins.
Yeah, but with matchups playing each other, I looked it up.
Okay, we'll play it again.
No, I'm just kidding. Go for it.
I won't play it again. They're not officially eliminated just yet. Go for it.
Nope, we're fine.
I'm done. Let's preview week 12.
Oh, week 12. Side bet. Go long. Quarterback with the longest pass. First matchup, we've got Brian, who's officially locked into the playoffs, 7-4 against me, 5-6. Brian just seemingly can't be stopped. Josh has to stop the bleeding now, or it's over. Technically not true either.
Well, I mean that again, but I mean you've had a 5-loss streak, so I mean it's not.
I'm going to go into the playoffs with a 7-loss streak.
that is impossible.
Yep.
So I mean, you don't want to talk about your matchup at all?
Oh, I was just reading the notes. I'm not going to pull my matchup up. That just takes time. I'm going to win. Truthiness.
Josh, we are 2 weeks before the playoffs. You're going to start phoning it in now?
I'm going to win. Truthiness.
Oh, my God. All right. Well,
Brian has a lot of players on bye. T.Y. Hilton might not play. And I'm going to win. Truthiness.
Okay. Well, I am going to pull up the matchup. Currently, Josh is projected to win 126.9 to Brian's 91.9. Brian has the advantage in only one player, and that's DeAndre Hopkins over Devontae Adams, which is questionable because DeAndre Hopkins has been pretty shaky this year. Devontae Adams, of course, also missed plenty of time. So they're both kind of questionable as wide receiver ones. Brian only has one person on bye, and that's Irv Smith Jr. But, I mean, Brian is currently projected to lose by 35. Josh's team is pretty stacked, although we said Nick Chubb's not going to have a great week. Sony Michel, you never know. Devontae Adams, you have as a dud. Cooper Kupp against Baltimore is questionable if he's covered by who the hell's over there? Marcus Peters is over there now. Mark Andrews should be a stud this week. Cortland Sutton was a stud last week. Should be a stud again. Saints defense is great. Josh Lambo is pretty good. Yeah, I got to go with Josh in this one for sure.
Yeah.
I can't pick against Josh with those parameters.
So, next matchup, we've got Jesse, 7-4, versus Jamie, 9-2. This sibling showdown. Jesse going to steal a win or what? Jamie has a huge win last week, cementing her position in first. Although it's not technically cemented.
That's correct. That is correct. So, will Jamie win this week? I mean, I was just saying she cemented her position up top. I didn't say she was the 1 seed, but I mean, Jesse's just such a... I honestly don't know. Currently, Jesse's projected to win 113.5 to 112.7 out of Jamie. Jamie, of course, in first place. Jamie only has the advantage in 2 players. Christian McCaffrey very likely to outdo his projection like he does every week. Jesse's got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers will decide this matchup. If Aaron Rodgers has a 30-point game, Jesse wins. If Aaron Rodgers has a 5-point game, Jamie wins. So I got to go Jamie on this one. You got to go record. You got to go 9-2, right?
I went Jesse.
Ooh, a little dissension in the ranks. I like it. All right, so there's some implications there. I mean, they're both in the playoffs, but seeding matters, folks. Next matchup, we got Willie facing Robin. So Robin is pretty much out of it, not officially. Willie's 7-4. Robin plays Jamie next week, so she should be done. Willie plays T next week. Hooper's a big loss for Willie. Dalvin's on a bye, though, and Tevin Coleman has been sleeping. Can Robin steal one from the reigning probably champ, or the almost reigning champ? She is currently projected to win 95-point war to Willie's 94.8. Willie is, of course, currently missing a tight end and a kicker, so once his lineup is all set, he'll be favored to win. Ooh, I want to pick an upset here so bad, but I would feel stupid to not go with Willie. No, it's Robin's matchups. Todd Gurley, no. Derrick Henry, Juju, Alshon, no. Yeah, I got to go Willie on this one.
I went Willie as well. Gar with a bye week versus Nate. Gar's 7-4 to Nate's 2-9.
Yeah, I mean, currently I'm projected to win 115 to Nate's 104. Nate does have a full lineup now. He didn't when I had previously checked it. So, Nate, good on you for getting a QB in there. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take myself in this one. Nate's team is definitely capable of winning. I just don't think he will this week. Joe Mixon's been bad. Saquon is banged up playing Chicago. Roby Anderson's a question mark. Tyler Boyd's...
Joe Mixon's had back-to-back-to-back weeks of 17 points.
He's been questionable all year, though. So in the grander scheme, I agree with myself. But you're not wrong about Joe Mixon recently. Tyler Boyd. Is Tyler Boyd in questionable? Am I right about that one? Yeah. All right. And his kicker's questionable. So we will see. I'm taking myself in this one, though. Josh, you want to take me or Nate?
I'm going to go Nate with the upset.
Ooh, dog.
Just to be spicy.
Ooh, that dog of mine. All right, Josh, next one. We got AJ playing T. This matchup actually does have a lot of implications because we haven't really talked about the standings. I don't think we'll do a deep dive into them. I know I saw the sheet you did up, but T could very easily slide out of the playoffs. He is not there in points for. The only thing that has him in right now is his record. So if T loses his next two matchups, which he's playing AJ this week, who's very hot right now, then he plays Willie next week, look for T to fall out of the playoffs. Anyways, this matchup... Hammer's currently projected to win by, what is that, 35? Team doesn't have a complete lineup yet, but AJ's team is just too stacked. He's too hot. Both him and I have the highest win streaks in the league, if only 3, which isn't that impressive, but there's no way I'm picking against Hammer, the hot hand. I'm thinking T falls out of the playoffs, so to do that, he's got to lose this week. I'm taking AJ. Josh, who do you got in this matchup?
AJ. Sorry, T.
Ripperoni to T. Josh, who we got next?
Garrett, 5-6 at Derek's 4-7. Garrett just needs to die, according to Garlic.
That was my note about his team.
Garrett, currently projected to win by just a small margin, despite Derek having Tyreek Hill, who's on a bye, still in his lineup.
Right. So I'm thinking that Derek will take that 8th spot while T falls out. So I'm going to take Derek for sure this week. He's got Drew Brees, Phillip Lindsay, Odell. No, I'm not going to say Odell's the reason. Jared Cook's been okay. Greg Zuerlein, great kicker this year. I'm taking Derek in this one. It won't be an upset by the time lineups are set, but who do you want in this one? Do you want Garrett or do you want Derek?
I took Derek.
I see that now. I hadn't scrolled to the right. All right, Josh. Final matchup. Who we got?
Brad versus Nikita. Brad's 4-7. Nikita, you're 5-6. Brad's on a 3-game skid. Nikita needs this one after turning the ship around last week against her husband. I think Nikita is going to take it. Truthiness.
Do you think Bradley sets a full lineup this week? That might be the hottest storyline going into the game.
Yes, but I think he sets it full of players on a bye.
Okay, because Bradley is currently missing 3 players, so Nikita's only favored by 8 right now, and Brad's missing 3 people. I mean, one of them's a kicker, one of them's a defense, so there's still some points. Dak Prescott has a terrible matchup this week. Latavius Murray could be good against Carolina. Jalen Samuels, I don't like her running backs. Calvin Ridley should be a stud this week. I'm up on Calvin Ridley. Cole Beasley's okay. Jacob Hollister's not bad. Deontay Johnson, I don't think he's going to play.
Oh, she got Hollister? I was wondering who got that white scrappy dude. He's such a gym rat.
Such a gym rat. Real scrappy guy.
Yeah.
And then Bradley doesn't have a full lineup. Michael Thomas could, of course, carry Bradley's team. I'm going to take Brad in this one. I don't want to take Bradley. I want Nikita to be in the playoffs. She's currently in that 9th spot. But I'm taking Brad just because I think with a full lineup, he can easily be carried. Yeah, he can be carried by Michael Thomas and Kareem Hunt this week. Nikita, I'm hoping you win, but here my brain is telling me Bradley will win because fuckery happens sometimes down the stretch.
I think I like Calvin Ridley's matchup after coming off that hot week last week.
Calvin Ridley's going to be huge this week for sure.
Dak Prescott's probably the questionable one in my mind. Latavius Murray, he's been getting some work in. Even with Kamara, it's just because they were kind of establishing his role early on. Carolina's kind of struggling, so we'll see what they do there. Jalen Samuels, I don't know if James Conner is going to play or not, but even if he does, you'd think that they're going to ease him back into it, so he might actually have a solid output. Deontay Johnson at Cincinnati. It's Cincinnati. But yeah, I mean, she's just, her bench is bye, and sync.
There's some back.
Bye.
Oh no, is that NSYNC or Backstreet
That's
Boys?
NSYNC.
I don't know. I was never a boy band guy.
Okay, but yeah, so I don't know. I think that she might have the advantage just based on low. I mean, I don't even see what Hollister's projected, but I'm sure he's going to score 500,000 points.
He's projected 8 currently, so that'd be a catch for 10 yards and a touchdown.
Yep,
that'd be one play. So, yeah, I'm taking Bradley, assuming he sets his lineup full. Currently missing 3 players, so definitely could not happen. But assuming Brad sets his lineup, I'm taking Brad this week. Josh, I don't know if you want to bring it up or not now, but I did see that you did like a little playoff probability thing. Did you want to talk about that or no?
Yeah, did you actually see the chart?
I saw the chart. I didn't read it, but I saw that you made it or got it made.
Yeah, so I got it made on the same site that we got for Victoria's Secret, as well as a couple other ones. And the reason that I had put as those 3 teams as being out of the race is because they have them as Derek, Robin, and Nate as 0% chance to make it based on points for and just their general record, because Nate's obviously out. Robin and Derek, I believe, are tied, and if they win both their games and somebody who's in it right now loses both their games, it's just the points for thing. Right. So I'm thinking that, if they outscore those people by a ton, then it's possible.
Sure.
Otherwise, we have 5 teams that are officially locked in according to this, and that is Brian, Jesse, Garlic,
Yahoo!
Willie, and Jamie. The other ones that are fighting for a spot in order of percentage, according to this site, we have Nikita, who is sitting at 75% chance, myself sitting at 71, Hammer sitting at 61, T 51, Garrett 37, Bradley 2.
Not looking good for Brad out there at 2%.
Yep. And I mean, it has a breakdown by the overall positions. So, like, Nikita could still technically get the 5th seed if things fall her way.
Right, for sure.
T, for some reason, could still get the 3rd seed if things fall his way.
His points for are so low, which I mean, if he has a couple great weeks, yes, he could. It's not wrong, I guess, but.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, it just broke it down differently. I was trying to find one that went on matchups, but you have to pay money for it, because then it gives you the scenarios in which you could actually make the playoffs. So it tells you which teams need to win by how much and that sort of thing. But it costs $250 to do, and I didn't want to spend money.
I was literally just gonna say out loud, if it was like $2 or something, I would have done it. But I wish I would have known, because I would have paid $2 for it, and I'm unemployed. But I mean, it's at this point it's a wash, because we'll know all the scenarios next week when there's one game left. But that would have been cool to see. But this is cool as well. I'm interested in how they have, because I definitely think Derek could make it. Like, things could fall that way, but I guess I haven't paid super close attention to the matchup, so we'll see.
We can go back to this chart. Who does Derek play next week? He plays
Nate.
And this week he plays Garrett.
Right.
Garrett's technically not in the playoffs yet either. I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to look into it a little bit more.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna. This machine is probably much smarter than I'll ever be, and maybe I'm just like holding on to my take of Derek's gonna make it here at the end, even though when it's factually impossible. I don't know. We'll see how the cards fall. We'll have a much clearer picture next week. Josh, I know you like to do the breakdown of all the different playoff scenarios. I don't know if you'll do that next week or not, but it's an exciting time in fantasy for sure.
I think it's because Garrett and I play each other next week. So if Garrett loses to Derek, they'd be 5-7. But then Garrett, if he beats me, and Derek beats Nate, Garrett would have the points for over Derek in that situation.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think about it. But yeah, I've talked too long. It's been over an hour.
How long over an hour has it been, Josh?
2.5 minutes.
You were 3.5 minutes. You were very close. And
we're in Central Time. Isn't that in Eastern Time?
It's only a minute off for time zones.
Well, Back to the Future 3.5.
Yeah, you got me. 1885 right here, folks. So if we wouldn't have done this board, we could have got under an hour just barely, but I think this is really cool, so I didn't want to cut you off.
All right, yeah, not a problem. I wanted to share it.
Right. So Josh, all right. So we're in the outro now. Final words. Are you going to make the Hidden Oaks playoffs this year? What does your playoff hopes look like in this league, to your opinion?
No.
Do you have more
I'm on
words
that
than-
Super Bowl slide right now.
Yeah, you're
Yep.
gonna follow the trend of the reigning champ doesn't make the playoffs that we seem to do a lot around here.
I think we've done it almost.
We've for sure done it in the Dynasty League. I don't know about the redraft league.
Yeah. So, gross.
I mean, there's 8 teams this year, so you definitely have plenty of chance. Who knows if we'll have 8 playoff spots next year? It depends on how many teams we have. I think I'll make it. What are your other leagues looking like, Josh? You gonna make the playoffs in the rest of your leagues? I know you can talk about it next week too, but how's she looking?
She's
You got
looking decent.
5 leagues, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5 in the playoffs?
I'm thinking at least 3 out of 5, probably 4 out of 5. This one being the shakiest of them all.
Okay, because right now I'm pretty sure I'm out of it in 2. So I'm thinking I'm going to be 6 and 8, could be 5 and 3. We'll see. As far as championships go, I really only like one of my teams to win the ship, and it would not be for very much money. So I'm probably going to end up losing money this year, but we will see. I saw you inquisitively pulling out your phone. Is there anything? Do you want me to vamp here while you're looking at that? I can play another ad. Are you sure?
You're good.
All right, well, because this would be the end then. Nikita, thank you for having me in your home. Josh, thank you for having me in your home. Ryan Walters, rip to your pod, but thank you for listening. Maybe we'll get you on here. Eric, Jamie, Levi, Zach, Brian, Hammer, Brad, Jesse, Jordan, Kyle. We love you so much. Thank you for listening. We would probably still do this without you because it's kind of a cool hobby to have, but obviously the fan interaction is greatly appreciated. HiddenOaksOverdose@gmail.com. Speaking of that interaction, Facebook.com/hoodpod. I'm not advertising the phone number anymore because the quality is so shit. And Anchor has good voice quality, but I don't like their app, and the podcast won't update on there if we did it the way we just did it. So I don't know. Maybe we'll figure something else out for voicemail. Who knows? Anyways, Josh, do you have any other words before we send the folks to sleep?
Nope.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Nikita. Love you. I have to go rip this.
Rip it up, man. You ripped that piss. Walters, I know you're still listening. Rip to the pod, man. We love you very much. We don't really take guests very often, but maybe we'll have you on.
Sorry, our ratings were so good we had to shut you down.
Our ratings were so good. The floor lava, should I be concerned?